Hello everyone, I'm Chang. I'm from the University of the West of England, Bristol. So for today's talk, I'm going to talk about how do we use or integrate AI into our classroom learning and teaching. So when we talk about artificial intelligence or AI, so most of the time you'll think about it, is it artificial intelligence by itself? But however, could it be also something like assessment innovation? So that came to my mind, okay, when I was thinking about how we could integrate or use AI in our learning and teaching. So this brought us to the questions: how do we use AI in learning and teaching, from classroom preparation to critical thinking and reflection? So together with my colleagues, so we have come up with a 4-step checklist, and we have managed to publish this with the Times Higher Education. I will also share the link, okay, at the to the chat box so that you all can have a look, okay, maybe after this session, okay. So together with my colleagues, so we have developed a 4-step checklist for this. So the first is to use the AI tools to promote inclusive, interactive, and personalized learning. And second, to evaluate the hierarchy of evidence and accuracy of the AI-generated content. And the third step is to propose alternative approaches for problem solving beyond AI responses. And the last step is to use what, how, and what and why points to reflect on learning. So I'm going to explain these 4 steps in detail in my coming slides. So next, please, if yeah, thank you. So our first step, okay, so here are the details. So what do we mean by using the AI tools to promote inclusive, interactive, and personalized learning? So basically, as we all know, AI tools help us to facilitate a more intuitive and engaging interactive learning experience for the learners. So with this will allow the teachers or the educator, they then have more time to develop the active and supportive classroom dynamic, so that the teachers, I mean like can be less trying to focus less, okay, on the content or on how to repeat, okay, like the information, because the teacher can then try to create a safe space for the learners. So how do we did, okay, for our public health modules? So we ask our students to use the AI tools to suggest public health interventions. So this could be, for example, like, okay, how to improve the nutritional status for the pregnant woman or for the elderly, for improving the human health in their communities. So the students then can modify the points, such as the participant recruitment strategies, the selection strategies, and the intervention type. And after that, the final learning outcome is that the students were asked to explain how their answers differ from the AI produced response. So this is very important, because we know that what the AI generated, sometimes it could be quite different than what we expect like the students to do. So that comes to our second step. Yep. Okay. So once we got, okay, the AI generated response and the student answer, we will ask the students to try to evaluate the hierarchy of evidence and the accuracy of the AI generated content, because we know that what has been generated by the AI is not always accurate. Why? Because this is limited by the language limitations, the social bias, and also the inequalities of the data used for the AI training. Although these are the limitations, we could exploit this to foster the critical thinking skill of the students. So we ask the student to think critically, to use their critical judgment, because this also the opportunity for us to help the student to develop their academic voice. So we ask them to evaluate it, okay, the bias, try to examine if the text were written with appropriate diction, style, and tone, because sometimes what is generated from the AI, okay, even though it maybe look very good, but it does not have that kind of, like, for example, if you ask the student to write a letter, advocacy letter to the head of minister, so maybe it does not have the appropriate tone. So this is where we ask the student to critically examine, okay, and also we teach about the acceptable use of AI to avoid academic misconduct. I think this is very important, because some students maybe they do not realize about, okay, what is the acceptable use of AI, okay, and how can they avoid the academic misconduct. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah. So when coming to the third step, we ask the student, okay, to propose alternative approaches for problem solving beyond the AI responses. So with the AI tools, the student can create and analyze the counter arguments. So we encourage the students to use their judgment to analyze the information and make real-world decision about the public health problems. For example, we ask them, okay, so if this is the public health policy, for example, maybe it could be about sugar tax, maybe it could be about obesity preventions. Okay? So use their judgment, okay, to make the real-world decision. So during this process, we are able to assess, okay, the students reasoning with their peers and also teachers. So this could be used, okay, as an evidence of their critical thinking skills in their course of assessment. So during this process, what we always suggest, okay, to our colleagues is that our focus should be on how the students review their decision-making process for the public health issues. Because if the student, let's say, if they are able to demonstrate how they come to the final decision, okay, for the public health topics, that is what we should be assessing. Okay, see how they make their critical judgment, how do they use the evidence base, okay, to come up with their actions. I think these are the most important part when we design the assessments. Yeah, the next slide, please. Yeah. So for our last step, we will ask our student to use what, how, and why, all these points to reflect on the learning. So the students are asked to reflect on how they use the AI tools to improve their learning experience. So we design this as a closed loop reflective cycle approach. So for example, like this is how we did it. The students who have no prior knowledge of the topic. So that is about the what questions. For example, if we are going to teach our students about, for example, like, okay, about nutrition topic. Okay. So maybe they do not know about the topic yet. So this is about the what questions. So they may use the AI tools to prepare before coming to the class. So this is something that, okay, we try to demonstrate the use of the flipped classroom with the use of the AI. So after the lesson, the students tailor the questions and the points to better understand the concept of how. For example, if you're teaching about how you could eat in a healthy way, okay? So because now they have received some knowledge about the topic, and then make sense of the knowledge learned about why. With the use of the AI, we help to improve their learning experience. So as you can see, if we follow these 4 steps, we are able to help the students to use AI in an ethical way, and also make sure that they understand about the acceptable use of the AI to avoid the academic misconduct. Yeah. Next slide, please. Yeah. Yeah. So summary and reflections. Something that for sure is that the AI tools will evolve over time. Okay. And AI tools is going to maybe definitely to become better and better. So we should adapt our teaching as they develop. So at the same time, we are also going to increase our understanding about the way how we use AI tools for learning and teaching, especially about how we design our assessment. As I mentioned, for example, especially the step 2 and step 3. So instead of just focusing on the final outcome of the assessment, we are trying to assess, okay, the process of the students coming, okay, to make the judgment for the final decision for the public health topics. Yeah. So also we need to be consistent in our focus on supporting students to develop higher order of thinking tasks, such as in this case, evaluation and analysis using these AI tools. Yeah. So yeah, so that's all about my topic. So again, this is something that we are trying to do currently, and we have managed to publish this with the Time Higher Education, and there'll be more works are coming. So hopefully we will share more with you in future. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. And looking at the reactions there, I think yeah, there's been lots of positive reactions there. We do have quite a few questions. If it's okay, I'm going to ask the first one. I'm going to be a bit cheeky. One question I had was, how did the use of the what, how, and why prompts that you were talking about actually impact students' understanding? Did you kind of get any feedback from students on this, on how they liked it, how they felt it impacted them specifically?
Yeah. Thanks, Phil. Thanks for the questions. So basically, when we first ask the student to use this what, how, okay, and why, basically some students they, for example, like they did not understand like the reason why we are asking this, how does we relate to AI, but then we explain to them. Okay, so after the students understand like the reasoning behind using this why, how, and what, okay, they start to appreciate the use of the AI, and they are also able to understand, okay, so what is acceptable use of AI and how can they avoid the academic misconduct? Because I think the most important thing is that we need to educate the students, okay? It is acceptable to use AI, but you need to understand what is acceptable use of AI and how to avoid academic misconduct. By asking them to reflect on their learning experience, actually, this makes them to realize, okay, this is what we should be doing. This is academic misconduct. And then a lot of students, they came back to me saying that now they have a better understanding of how to use AI in an appropriate way and in an ethical way. So I'm very pleased to hear this from the students.
That's great. Thank you. We've got another question here from Gail in the Q&A, so thanks, Gail. She's asked, which AI tools are you finding to be most effective for students to use at the moment? I guess these things are kind of developing so quickly, but the ones that you worked with, are there any that you would recommend or maybe avoid?
I think there are many because, for example, most of the students they are telling me that maybe using ChatGPT or another tool, AI tool is the Perplexity AI. Okay, so which covers more of scientific content. So basically, I think it depends on what kind of AI tools that they are using. But the most important thing is I always tell my students that remember acceptable use of AI, and then remember, okay, what is considered as academic misconduct. I think that is the most important thing. Yeah.
Great, thank you. I think we've probably got time for one more question. This is from an anonymous poster in the Q&A. So one question here is, how can we as educators or academic developers strike a balance between implementing learning technologies and typical teaching methodologies, especially for those students or even instructors who are not really tech savvy and have quite limited access to technologies? I think that's a really relevant question.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I also experience this because now, I mean, like because I also have some colleagues, okay, who are okay, like not so comfortable in using some of these AI tools or these advanced tools. So what I would kindly suggest that usually I will work together with them. I will provide okay some steps, for example, how do you use this tool? I'll just give them like the SOP or the manual so that they can follow this step, and also for the students because I do not want to put the student into a disadvantage position because of they are not understanding how to use this technology. So basically, I will also, for example, during my class, I will tell the student, okay, so these are the tools or these are the, for example, like the technology that we are going to use. We start with something that is very simple first to make sure they are able to cover your learning outcomes or the learning materials. But if you need further support, always come to me or go to the ID, and then we want to make sure that you are not being disadvantaged, because of this. Yeah.
Great, thank you. And we've actually, I think, because we've extended the time by 5 minutes, we've got time for one more question. So if you can possibly get this into 2 minutes, what would you say have been the biggest challenges in integrating AI into the teaching process? How did you overcome it?
Yeah, I think like the biggest challenge is that we want to make sure that we are on the same page with the students and also with the teachers and educators, because we know that like this kind of digital literacies, they are not the same, because some students maybe they are quite good with this, some teachers are quite good with this, but some teachers or some students they are not so good. I think that's the challenge, and we can see there are some, for example, inequalities when it comes to this. So what we are trying to do next is that we are trying to, for example, measure or ask how we could improve, okay, the staff or the students digital literacies or the AI literacy, because AI tools is definitely going to continue to evolve and we cannot be running away with it. But the next and another issue is about academic misconduct, about what is the acceptable use of the AI, because some students they're just not aware of this. They just thought that maybe anything for the AI could be used for their assessment. So that's why we are trying to focus more on the process of how students come into that decisions, instead of just looking at their, let's say, at their written word. we're focusing more on the process. Yeah, I think that's the challenge, especially how to measure, that process in between. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you. There are
Thank
quite a few questions in the Q&A as well. So if you could take a look at those as well, that would really be appreciated. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Phil. Thank you.